and welcome to Davison Decision 2016. Today we will be giving you live updates on how Davison High School is voting in our mock election. I'm Jordan Bruns.
And I'm Jillian Berger. Today all the history classes will be invited to vote in the Media Center or in the cafeteria if you do not have a history class. They will be voting on the President, the 5th Congressional candidates, and the 48th District State Legislature candidates.
Let's go to Alicia Paxton live at the polls as they are beginning to open.
Hey guys, we are here in the Media Center and polls are about to begin. If you look around, you can see everything is ready and set up and people are going to come in, they're going to grab a ballot and cast their vote.
First off, we'd like you to know who and what you are voting for. The first is the presidential race. You have your usual Republican candidate, Donald Trump, and your Democratic candidate, Hillary Clinton.
Every item in Hillary Clinton's agenda has in common is that it takes jobs and opportunities away from African American workers.
That he will stick it to the rich and powerful because somehow he's really on the side of the little guy.
In the past year, you hear people taking punches at Trump and kicks at Hillary. But this year's election, the candidates have been throwing jabs at each other.
Based on what we know from the Trump campaign, he wants America to work for him and his friends at the expense of everyone else.
This is the result of the policy agenda embraced by crooked Hillary Clinton.
But it doesn't stop there. Trump goes on telling the audience why Hillary isn't fit for president.
We must turn the page on yesterday. Only a change in leadership will produce a change in outcomes, and we can't take, as a country, 4 more years of Obama, and that's what you get with Hillary Clinton, but probably worse.
But Hillary has a few tricks up her sleeve as well.
And as we heard him say at his convention, he may believe that he alone can fix our country, but clearly he doesn't know the people of Michigan.
America must reject the bigotry of Hillary Clinton, who sees communities of color only as votes, not as human beings worthy of a better future.
Now, if you believe that he's as wealthy as he says, that alone would save the Trump family $4 billion. It would do nothing for 99.8% of Americans.
Maddie Jacobson, DTV News.
Also, on the presidential ballot, there will be third-party candidates. From Libertarian Party, Gary Johnson. Representing U.S. taxpayers is Darrell Castle. The Green Card Party candidate, Jill Stein, and Emilio Mimi, representing the Natural Law Party.
Everyone knows the main political candidates and parties for the presidential elections. The Republican candidate is Donald Trump, and the Democratic candidate is Hillary Clinton. However, you may not know the third-party candidates. Mimi Solcistic is part of the Natural Law Party. They propose that political problems could be solved through alignment with the unified field of all the laws of nature. The presidential candidate for the Constitution Party is Darrell Castle. This party promotes a platform that reflects the party's interpretation of the principles set forth in the Declaration of Independence, the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, and the Bible.
The rule of law is very important. The Constitution is very important, and I'm trying to preserve those things and to reestablish the rule of law in America.
Gary Johnson is the candidate for the Libertarian Party, who promotes civil liberties and abolition of the welfare system.
Free everything. Government's going to provide you with everything it is that you need, and I think we all recognize that nothing is free. Somebody pays for that. And so at the end of the day, government grows with Democrats and taxes go up. And when taxes go up, that's money out of your and my pockets that we could be spending on our own lives.
The Green Party is the 4th largest party in the presidential election. They promote environmentalism, nonviolence, LGBT rights, and much more. Jill Stein is the candidate for this party.
I'm the only candidate in this race with the only national political party that is not poisoned by corporate money, by lobbyists, by super PACs. So I have the unique ability in this race to provide the American people the real solutions that people are clamoring for.
These are your 2016 third-party candidates. Make sure to stay tuned to DTV to find out more about the election and Davison Decision.
Next on your ballot will be those running to represent us in Congress. Al Hardwick is the Republican candidate, Dan Kildee as Democratic, Steve Sluka as Libertarian, and Harley Michelson as the Green Party.
Dan Kildee is running for the 5th congressional race. He is in the Democratic Party and has been a huge help in the Flint community with the Flint water crisis. He recently helped pass $170 million for Flint. He has also been an advocate and help in the release of Amir Hakmati, a former U.S. Marine and Flint native, who is held as a political prisoner in Iran. Kildee has been a U.S. rep for Michigan's 5th congressional district since 2013. If elected, he would fight for increased investments in schools. He will also help make sure students aren't strictly based off their standardized testing by using multiple different performance measures. Alan Hardwick is also running for Michigan's 5th congressional race. He is in the Republican Party and currently works in the computer business. He ran in 2014 for the U.S. House to represent Michigan's 5th district, but lost to Dan Kildee. If elected, he plans to help high school students with their post-high school plans. He also plans to offer programs in skilled trades to help with job opportunities right out of high school.
The last thing on the ballot will be those for state legislator. Joseph Reno is the Republican nominee, and Pam Ferris is the Democratic nominee.
Michigan's 48th district is up for grabs this election. The 48th district covers the northern eastern part of Genesee County.
Somebody needs to step up and actually take charge and actually start fixing things.
Joe Reno, a former police officer, is running for office for the first time. He believes he can make a difference.
Specifically for Davison, the roads are going to be big. It's because I know myself included, as well as a lot of community members, drive a good distance to their jobs. So having a sound road system is going to be really important.
Reno is a Republican who supports Trump for president.
Yeah, I think overall I'm pretty close on a lot of his philosophies. Once you start cutting through all the different media sensations and how the stories are running, and you look at his core values, I match up pretty well with a lot of them.
Pam Ferris is running for the second time as a Democrat. She is trying to change people's minds on child abuse, abortion, and women's rights. Ferris thinks that child abusers should be sentenced to longer time in jail. Ferris also strongly believes that women are just as good as men and should not be treated any lower than a man while working.
Welcome back. First hour is over and the votes are pouring in. We are beginning to see who DHS is voting towards.
We have our first results of the day. Let's head to the Media Center where Bailey Talaska is live with an update on how it's going so far. What do you have, Bailey?
Hi guys, I'm here in the Media Center where the polls are open and people are filing in. There are a lot of people trying to vote today, so there's been a little bit of a backup, but not to worry. Things are starting to speed up. At the end of first hour, Trump is ahead in the presidential race with 50% in the vote and Hillary behind him with 27% in the vote. In the 48th congressional race, we have Hardwick ahead with 39%, with Kildee right behind him with 33%. For the 48th legislative race, we have Reno with 60% and right behind him, Ferris with 40%. We'll be back with you with more updates later.
DTV has been following the campaign trail to keep you informed on what you need to know. First, let's take a look on how the candidates plan to take on the economy.
The bottom line is this. I'm running for president to build an economy that works for everyone, not just those at the top.
A victory for the wage earner, the factory worker. Remember this, a big, big victory for the factory worker. They haven't had those victories for a long time.
Donald Trump's platform on economy will boost growth to 3.5% per year on average, with potential to reach 4% growth. He will also create a dynamic, booming economy that will create 25 million new jobs over the next decade. Hillary's views on economics will restore basic fairness to our tax code. She will ensure that the wealthiest Americans do not pay lower taxes than middle-class families. She will also close corporate and Wall Street tax loopholes and invest in making a better America. Trump also has a 7-point plan in place for trade. Some of these include withdraw from the Trans-Pacific Partnership, which has not yet been ratified. He will also appoint tough and smart trade negotiation skills to fight on behalf of American workers. He will also direct the Secretary of Commerce to identify every violation of the trade agreement. Her views on trade will support the reauthorization of the Export-Import Bank. She opposes the Trans-Pacific Partnership and supports trade agreements that will raise wages and increase prosperity to the American people. Jordan Bruns, DTV News.
Welcome back to another update on the polls. We have the results on how the high school is voting for.
Maddie Jacobson is live in the Media Center with a report on the polls. Maddie?
Hey, what's up, guys? We're back with more updates on Davison Decision. We are now more than halfway through this election, and the votes are piling up sky high. Currently, Trump is on his way to winning the whole thing with 47%, and trailing behind is Clinton with 31%. Over in the 5th Congressional corner, Dan Kildee stands with 40% over Hardwick, who is just behind him with 37%. Looks like it's going to be a tough call, though. Last but not least, we have the Michigan's 48th district election. Ferris and Reno are still back-to-back with votes, though. Reno is the lead with 55%, still holds over Ferris, who has 45%. Along with our hourly updates, we are also posting the polls on our Twitter, DTV_official. And you can find us more about the election by going to our site, dtvnews.org. Stay tuned for more.
Another hot topic the election is facing is gun violence. Quinn Trombley has more.
Violence and police shootings have been dominating the headlines, especially in the last 6 months. This rise in gun violence has been a topic between both our presidential candidates throughout their campaigns. Hillary Clinton had a lot to say about this during the first presidential debate. She states everyone should be respected by the law and everyone should respect the law. We have to restore trust between our communities and the police. Donald Trump, on the other hand, had a similar stance on the topic.
Law and order will be restored, and the poorest places in our country will know safety and peace again.
Hillary's plans to reduce gun violence are enforce stricter gun laws by taking them out of the hands who shouldn't have them or who will do harm, expand the background checks on gun sales while closing the many loopholes in buying, and removing the legal protection for irresponsible and illegal actions while also taking the licenses away from dealers who will break the law. Donald Trump's plans to reduce this violence are enforcing stop and frisk laws to solve the issues like this rise in crime, bringing back Project Exile, which helps get gang members and drug dealers off the streets, and by getting serious when prosecuting violent criminals by enforcing the laws on the books.
Third hour has just ended and voters are continuing to pour into the library, while voting in the lunchroom for people without a history course has begun.
Manny Clinton has all the information on the races, including what's shaping out to be a blowout in the presidential race. Manny?
That's right, Jordan. We're back at the Media Center, and I was asking my way around, and many say it's a good thing to vote for us because it is a symbol of our freedom. We're halfway through this election, and Trump is ruling over it. He is 18% ahead of Clinton, and the numbers seem to be getting bigger every hour. Trump is taking over the Davison election. Over the 5th Congressional, we have a tight race. Dan Kittle is holding on a tight 5% leading over Hardwick. It's shaping up to be a close race in the 5th. An upset is brewing in Michigan's 48. Pam Ferris is having trouble with newcomer Joe Reno, and Reno is winning big by 18%. We will have more updates for you during 5th hour. See you then.
The last topic we would like to bring attention to is one that's a little closer to home. Alicia Paxton has the details on what the candidates plan for education.
One of the big topics that the two candidates are facing is education. Trump's big goal with education is to enforce school choice. He plans on putting $20 billion of federal money straight towards it, which will allow students to attend any school that they choose. He also wants to establish a goal of providing school choice for children in poverty, this being a huge reason he pushes so strongly on the topic. Trump also wants to ensure the opportunity for students to attend a 2-year or 4-year college, with it being easier to access, pay for, and finish. Hillary's goals in education start by launching a national campaign to help modernize and elevate the profession of teaching. This involves preparing, supporting, and paying all teachers in higher quality. Along with this, she plans to provide every student in America the opportunity to learn computer science, funding to get more students into the field. The candidate also wants to rebuild American schools, helping schools that are, and already have been, falling apart. She also plans to dismantle the school-to-prison pipeline, having states reform school disturbance laws, making student punishment less harsh.
Thank you all for voting and participating. We have Alicia Paxton live in the Media Center for one last update on the final count for our mock election.
The polls are closed, the last ballots are in, and the vote is final. It was a tough run for some and a big win for others. Here is Davison's decision. For the presidential race, the winner by a landslide with 50% of the votes is Donald Trump. In second is Hillary with 29%. Tied for third is Johnson and Stein at 8%. Then in fourth is Stalstick with 3%. And in last is Castell with 1%. After that, we have the winner of the 5th district race, Kildee holding the lead at 38%, beating Hardwick by 1%. Then there is Sluka with 13% and Michelson in last with 10%. Finally, we have the Michigan's 48th district. The person with the highest votes, taking 56% of them, is Reno, Ferris losing with 43%. Thanks to everyone who came out to vote today. This is just a small glimpse into what the actual election day could look like. If you are old enough to vote, it is very important to get out there and do so, because just one vote could make a huge difference, as you have seen today. Thanks for tuning in.